If I had $1 for every time my family reminded me that I didn't quite fit the mold, I wouldn't be renting this two-bedroom duplex with a leaky sink and the washing machine that sounds like it's coughing up a lung. I'd own a beach house somewhere, quiet, sunny, far from judgment and sugar-coated pity. But I've always tried to be the bridge between who they wanted me to be and who I really am. I guess I thought if I kept showing up, kept smiling through the awkward silences and forced small talk, they'd eventually accept me, and maybe even accept my daughter, Emily. I was wrong. It all started with a group text, the kind that comes every holiday season, usually from my sister Camilla. She's the type who monograms her hand towels and uses words like curated for everything from snack trays to Instagram captions. She texted on a Wednesday. Hey all. Doing the family Christmas photo this Sunday. Matching red and gold again. Can't wait, 2 hearts, let me know if you need outfit recs. I stared at it for a minute. No specific mention of Emily or me. But I replied anyway. Got it. Emily's a size 10 of 12 if you're coordinating kids' outfits. Let us know what time. She never responded. I should have known then. But hope is a stubborn thing. Even after everything, I still wanted Emily to feel like she belonged. Emily was ecstatic. She talked about it for days. How she wanted to wear a ribbon in her hair like her cousin Sophie. She even drew little stick figures of all the cousins, labeling them the Christmas crew. She taped it to our fridge. That Sunday came and went without a word. No update. No address. I thought maybe they postponed. Or maybe Camilla just forgot to reply. Then Monday morning rolled around. I was sipping cold coffee, half listening to Emily chatter about her science project, when my phone lit up. It was a Facebook notification. Camilla posted a new photo. I opened it casually, not expecting much. Then I saw it. There they were, my entire family, dressed in those red and gold outfits, like a glossy ad for holiday perfection. My mom sat in the center like a queen, her arm around Camilla, who had one of those overly staged laughs. My brother Chase, tall and handsome in his tailored blazer, stood beside his wife and their twins. Camilla's 3 kids were posed at their feet, smiling like it had been rehearsed. Not a single trace of me. Not a single trace of my daughter. The caption read, "Grateful for another year surrounded by the people who matter most. #family is everything. #Harper traditions." My thumb hovered over the screen. I felt my stomach drop. Not in a dramatic way. It was slower than that, like the slow-motion sinking of something heavy into a dark lake. Behind me, Emily had gone quiet. She must have seen the look on my face. She walked over, still in her fuzzy penguin pajamas, and peered at the photo. "Why am I not in it?" she asked, her voice light, hopeful, like maybe there was a reasonable explanation. I didn't know what to say. My tongue felt too thick, my thoughts too sharp. I wanted to shield her from this moment, to pretend it didn't matter, to distract her with breakfast or a funny meme. But there was no sugarcoating it. She was left out. We were erased. I wrapped my arms around her and whispered, "You're everything, baby. You hear me? Everything." But even as I held her, I knew the damage was done. That photo would sit on mantles. It would get mailed out with Christmas cards. It would hang in Grandma's hallway. And in every version of it, my daughter didn't exist. Later that evening, after Emily had gone to bed, I sat alone in the dim light of the kitchen. I stared at that photo again. Zoomed in. Not a corner, not a cropped edge, not a single clue we were ever considered. They had made it perfect, and in their version of perfect, we were invisible. This wasn't just a careless oversight. It was a message. Camilla had always been the golden child. She married young, hosted perfect dinners, sent out holiday newsletters. Chase followed suit with his tech job and picture-perfect twins. I was the odd one out, the free spirit turned single mom who got pregnant without a ring and didn't finish college because I was too busy changing diapers and working night shifts. But I never asked for a pedestal. Just space at the table. A sliver of inclusion. A fraction of kindness for Emily, who had done nothing wrong except exist in a way that didn't align with their curated image. That night, I scrolled through my camera roll, finding photos of Emily building snowmen, laughing at the zoo, dancing in the living room in her pajamas. She was joy. She was magic. She was everything I'd ever done right. And yet they'd acted like she didn't matter. Like she didn't count. That was when the idea started forming, not as a vengeful impulse, but as a mother's instinct. A protective one. They could pretend she didn't exist. But I would show the world just how brightly she did. I always knew Emily would have to fight for her place in this world, but I never thought the battle would start with her own blood. The night I told my family I was pregnant was the last time they ever looked at me the same. I was 32, single, still trying to find my footing after a rough breakup and 2 job changes in the same year. My mom's first response wasn't joy or even concern. It was silence. Thick, judging silence. Like I'd announced I'd robbed a bank. "You're keeping it?" she asked finally. Like I was making a reckless mistake rather than bringing a life into the world. "I'm not asking for your approval," I said. But a part of me still hoped for love. Or, at the very least, a sliver of support. Camilla was more blunt. "You know this is going to ruin your life, right? Who's going to hire a single mom with no degree and a baby on her hip?" Chase, in his usual cold detachment, muttered something about poor decisions and excused himself to take a call. That was their way, passive-aggressive shame disguised as tough love. Not a single person hugged me that night. And yet, when Emily arrived, 7 pounds of quiet strength and pink cheeks, everything changed for me. But not for them. From day one, they treated her like a footnote. Not quite acknowledged, never quite embraced. At her first birthday, my mom brought a gift for the house. A casserole dish. Camilla gave me a parenting book. Chase didn't show. But I smiled. Took the photos. Pretended it was okay. Because that's what you do when you're the family disappointment. You make nice to keep the peace. By the time Emily was 5, it was clear she wasn't invited into their narrative of perfection. She wasn't the Harper standard. She didn't wear smock dresses from boutique catalogs. She didn't have a dad they could praise. And worst of all, she looked like me, strong chin, unruly curls, a little fire in her eyes. They preferred their version of family, posed, polished, palatable. Emily didn't fit that mold. I remember one Easter at Camilla's place. She arranged an egg hunt for the kids. Everyone got a color-coded basket, except Emily. Hers was forgotten, apparently. I watched my daughter wander the yard with a sad little grocery bag while her cousins squealed over chocolate eggs and golden prizes. When I gently pulled Camilla aside, she just laughed. "Relax, Val. It's just candy. Don't be so sensitive." But it wasn't about the candy. It never was. It was about the message they kept sending. "You're not one of us. You're not really family." Still, I swallowed my pride. Year after year. I told myself Emily needed cousins, grandparents, connection. I told myself it was better to have a little family than none at all. But kids are smart. They feel what we try to hide. By 2nd grade, Emily had stopped calling Grandma Nana. She didn't ask to go to Camilla's house anymore. When she got her school portrait back, she studied it silently for a moment and then asked, "Do you think I look like someone they'd put on their wall?" I choked on my coffee. What do you even say to that? How do you protect your child from the pain of being unwanted, especially when it comes wrapped in ribbons and fake smiles? I started noticing it more, how she clung to teachers, neighbors, even my friend Tasha, looking for warmth and praise she wasn't getting from her own flesh and blood. And each time they dismissed her, a part of me hardened. I kept the peace for years, Valerie. But peace at the cost of your child's self-worth? That's not peace. That's surrender. Then came the Christmas photo. Their exclusion wasn't a one-time slip-up. It was the final chapter in a book I should have stopped reading years ago. And the worst part wasn't the photo itself. It was Emily's face when she saw it. Children can recover from scraped knees, forgotten birthdays, even cruel classmates. But being cast out by your own family? That wound writes itself deep. It lingers in their posture, their self-talk, the quiet way they start doubting their place in the world. I spent that whole night wide awake, listening to her breathing. She still slept with a stuffed turtle under her chin and one leg dangling off the bed, like she was braver than the world knew. I brushed her curls away from her eyes and whispered, "You don't need them to see you. I see you. I always will." But promises in the dark weren't enough anymore. I'd tried for years to earn their love, to buy my way into a family that never intended to hold space for us. That's when something in me broke, but not in a bad way.
It was more like the snapping of a chain.
A moment of clarity. If they wanted to pretend we didn't exist, I'd show them how it felt. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. So I started planning. Not some wild, dramatic revenge, but something careful, intentional, something they'd never forget. I didn't raise Emily to believe she had to beg for love. And I certainly didn't survive years of judgment and shame to let her be erased. They tried to delete her from one photo, so I decided to delete them from all of theirs. Revenge, when it's born from heartbreak, doesn't come screaming into the room. It arrives like fog, quiet, slow, and cold. After years of swallowing the silence, after every exclusion and every sideways glance, after watching my daughter realize she'd been cut out like an afterthought, something inside me shifted. I didn't want to just make a point. I wanted them to feel what we'd felt, unseen, dismissed, erased. And so I started with a folder on my desktop. I called it Rewrite. Inside, I collected every family photo I could find over the last 10 years. The curated smiles, the birthday barbecues, the matching sweaters. Every posed moment they had flaunted on social media like it meant something. The ones we were left out of. I knew my way around Photoshop. Freelance side gigs had kept us afloat during rough months. So I sharpened my skills like a blade. I zoomed in on every smile, every staged perfection. And piece by piece, I began removing them. Camilla's face from Emily's third birthday?
Gone.
Chase holding his twins at Grandma's 75th? Vanished. I didn't just delete them, I replaced them. With soft photos of Emily and me, playing in the park, baking cupcakes, laughing with whipped cream on our noses. Real moments. Messy moments. Ones that didn't need to be staged. I redid the entire Harper family photo history. It was therapeutic, reclaiming our narrative. For so long, they tried to crop us out of their lives without the courtesy of honesty. Now I was cropping back with purpose. And I didn't stop there. Remember how they sent those Christmas photo cards every year? I made our own. Same gold and red theme, but with just me and Emily, standing in front of our modest fireplace, her hugging our rescue dog, me holding a sign that said, "Family isn't who includes you in a photo. It's who shows up when the camera is off." I printed 50 copies. One for every relative, every friend who had liked Camilla's post. Even a few old neighbors who used to nod sympathetically when I showed up at family events with that invisible outsider energy. And yes, I mailed one to each and every member of my family. 2 days after the cards went out, I got the first text. From my cousin Brooke, who never says much, but reads everything. "Damn, Valerie. That card hit deep. I had no idea it was that bad." Then came the email from my Aunt Lisa. "Camilla said you've been stirring drama with your edits." But honestly, I saw the card. I think it's the most honest Christmas message I've ever gotten. Then silence. A lull. Until Chase called me. I let it go to voicemail. "Val, listen," he said, his voice clipped but unusually careful. "Camilla's freaking out. Mom's upset. I guess I just don't get what the goal is here." I played it twice. The goal? The goal was survival. But they wouldn't understand that, would they? Because when you've always been inside the warm circle, it's easy to dismiss the people left standing in the cold. Then I got a message that made me stop in my tracks. It was from Camilla. "I saw what you did. Very mature. You should be ashamed of weaponizing your kid like that. Don't contact us again." I stared at the screen. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. I just exhaled. Because that wasn't a threat. That was freedom. That night, Emily came home from school with glitter in her hair and paint on her jeans. "We made family trees today," she said, beaming. "Want to see mine?" She pulled out a crumpled sheet. At the top was her name in big purple letters, and underneath, a series of stick figures, me, her, and even our dog, Max. No grandma. No aunts. No cousins. I felt my throat tighten. You didn't draw Camilla or Nana? I asked gently. She shrugged. Didn't feel right. Miss Allen said we could include people we live with or who make us feel safe.
That's you.
I hugged her so tight she squeaked. That's perfect, baby. Just perfect. The next day, I did one more thing. I logged into our shared online family album. Yes, Camilla had made one. It was her pride and joy. Decades of digital photos, organized by date, all perfectly categorized. And I added a new folder. Harper Edits, The Real Story. Inside, I uploaded my reworked versions. I didn't post anything snide or cruel. Just one caption. For the memories that never made the frame. Within an hour, the whole album went offline. Apparently, Camilla didn't like that level of honesty. But I wasn't upset. I didn't need a photo album to tell me who my family was. I had proof of it every morning when Emily crawled into my bed before school just to chat, or when she asked me to braid her hair the way you used to when I was little, like I wasn't still doing it every week. They had cut us out. So I made sure they could feel what absence really looked like. But here's the part one didn't expect. People noticed. Old friends reached out. Parents from Emily's school messaged me to say how much they related. That they, too, had families who preferred the filtered version of life over the real thing. And it hit me. I wasn't alone. Maybe revenge wasn't the right word. Maybe it was redirection. A reclaiming. Because after years of trying to fit into a frame that was never built for us, I'd finally built one of our own. The funny thing about family photos is how still they are. Smiles frozen in time. No one blinking. No one mid-sentence. Everyone pretending they were happy in that moment, even if they weren't. For years, I believed in the lie those pictures told. I chased that illusion, thinking if we could just get one good frame, one proper pose, they'd finally accept us. That Emily and I would finally belong. But not anymore. A few weeks after the Christmas card fallout and the silent removal of the family album, I found myself standing in the hallway outside Emily's room. She was humming softly to herself, cutting paper for a school project. I watched her through the crack in the door, her head tilted in concentration, a line of glitter glue dancing across her fingers. She looked peaceful, confident, rooted. And that's when it hit me. I didn't need to fight for space in their picture anymore. Because she wasn't missing anything. Not anymore. She had me. I had her. And the space we created together? It was more than enough. But the story doesn't end there. Because the universe has a funny way of circling back. In February, Chase's wife messaged me, something I never expected. She'd seen our card,
Seen what happened.
and she apologized. Not just with words, but with tears. She told me she'd seen how Camilla and my mother treated Emily, how they'd whisper about her when they thought no one was listening, how they'd shrug when she wasn't included. I should have said something, she admitted. I let it happen. I'm sorry, Valerie. I didn't know what to say at first. I'd spent so long building armor, I forgot what it felt like to be truly heard. But I thanked her. Because maybe that's all some of us ever really want. Not validation, not revenge, just acknowledgement. She sent Emily a birthday gift that year. A sketchbook and a note that read, "Make your own masterpiece. Don't wait for anyone else to draw you in." It was the first time Emily cried over a gift. I framed that note, hung it right in our entryway. Because not all apologies come with grand gestures. Sometimes, they come in small moments of grace, when people show you they finally see what they were too blind or busy to before. And while Camilla and my mother stayed silent, the ripple was felt. Other relatives, ones who'd stayed neutral for years, started reaching out. Small invitations. Quick check-ins. One even sent me a message. Your card was the first one that felt real.
I didn't need them back.
But I wasn't angry anymore. I was clear. Emily and I built our own traditions. That spring, we planted a garden in the backyard. Just the two of us. Marigolds, tomatoes, and sunflowers taller than she was. She named them after constellations: Orion, Lyra, Cassiopeia. She said it made her feel connected to something bigger than the world we'd been shut out of. I took pictures. Not for Instagram, not to prove anything. Just for us. One day, she caught me watching her from the porch, camera in hand. "You gonna put that in the family album?" she teased, cheeks smudged with dirt. I smiled. It's already in the only frame that matters. Because that's what I'd learned in this whole messy, heartbreaking journey. You don't need to be in their photo to have a full, beautiful life. You don't need their approval, their smile, their half-hearted inclusion. You just need someone who chooses you when no one else does. I chose my daughter. Again and again. And in doing so, I finally chose myself. We are not missing from the story. We're the story. Thank you so much for listening to my story. Your support means everything. If this story touched you or made you think, please subscribe to our channel for more real, powerful stories.